Welcome to the Sutliffian Report. Today, I have a whole lineup of things to cover, and I don't know if I'm going to get through it all. And I can thank Joe Biden for this. Part of the reason I changed the name of the show from the Civilization Jihad Awareness was I just felt there was too much to cover. We can't just talk about Islam because and a lot of what I've been learning about Islam has basically killed itself over the centuries and called itself a liar. And I these are things, strangely enough, I know everybody else may know this, but I'm new learning that, and I just kind of sit there and marvel, like, wow, they killed themselves, their whole ideology off. And I'll, you know, it's in the next couple of weeks, I'll be sharing a lot of that kind of stuff that I've learned. I'm just kind of woke up into some of these topics. It's bad enough. I'm constantly learning. I listen to Hatun, I listen to Christian Prince, Rob Christian. I'll join Usama Dakdak, and we're listening to him as well. And there's a whole bunch of others that I listen to. But this news today, this news this week that I caught that really seems to get me has to do with our dementia-ridden president. I don't have another better description. When you have a parent who has dementia, you can't deny these things with the current sitting president. There is no way to deny it. He has good days. He does what he's told well, but there are days you wish that he was more aware, because something he did this week was so offensive that, to be honest, I don't know a Jewish person alive today that would not be offended with what he said in Israel. I don't know a Jewish person alive today. That says something. And this is a Christian news show, so I want to get straight into the Word of God first. Matthew 19:16-22. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why do you call me good? There's none good but one, that is God. But if you will enter into life and keep the commandments. He said unto him, Which? Jesus said, You shall do no murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. Honor your father and your mother. You shall love your neighbors as yourselves. The young man said unto him, All these things I have kept from my youth up. What do I lack? And Jesus said unto him, If you'll be perfect, go and sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. This young man, he came before Jesus, recognizing that Jesus had authority and knowledge. He does what's required when he comes to someone in authority. He wants to ask a question. He calls them by a title and honors that title with a little pomp. Master being the title, which they would call teachers masters. And the pomp, good master. Jesus was a teacher. This earned him that title. The pomp, again, being good. And the description's not wrong. Listen closely. He asked this question about attaining eternal life, and Jesus hears the young man and guides him to do one thing. Recognize why he called Jesus good. If the young man asked the question because he knew Jesus would have the answer, it means that he had to recognize Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God, the one true God in the flesh. But the young man misses the guidance. He's clueless. Some people today use Jesus' answer to claim Jesus wasn't God. But they miss the guided question. Why do you call me good? Like the young man, those who do this skip over the important part. This young man wanted his answer now. He wasn't interested in a conversation or growth, but in what the answer to his question was only. All too often, I'm picking on us men. We get this type of listening. We get yelled at because we don't listen well, and the women will always say, "You're not listening to me." Quite often, I'll be honest, they're probably right. We're not paying enough attention. And you know what? That is, again, it's not a wrong answer for them to tell us that, because that's often true. So in this case, that young man, he just didn't catch it. Jesus tells him the commandments he should follow. Think about it. If you will keep the commandments, the answer the young man gives in response is pretty shocking. Which? How can the young man not know the answer? His father and mother obviously taught him the commandments. He had good manners, showing he listened and honored his parents. Was he listening for a shortcut? Was he looking for that? What was it he wanted exactly? Which commandments to follow? What was obvious here is he knew he didn't have eternal life. He thought he had been good. If being good got you into eternal life, so why did he feel that emptiness? What was he missing? And he knew he was missing something. He missed that guidance. Why do you call me good? If he had not missed that, maybe things would have been different. Jesus being God speaks to the thing that holds that young man back, his wealth. This young man was tempted through his wealth. His sin nature was filled with something to do with that wealth. Think about it. Dear Lord Jesus, you are the great and living God who walked amongst us. You are the one who offered his life that we might have life more abundantly. Lord, you know what our problems are, what our issues are, and what tempts us. Lord, I have prayed, make me stronger. Now I want to have you make me listen better. Help me to see my own foolishness. Help me to find ways to say I was wrong. Lord, help me to listen. Help me to understand better. And help me to change the things that I might be more like you. In your name, Lord Jesus, amen. Now we're going to get into what I call the Biden administration and confusion. What should a Christian do? But number one on my list is the topic. Number one, Biden communicates fear of being nuked, and New York City promotes surviving a nuke. Okay, I'm sorry. This just makes me laugh. Surviving a nuke. Okay, I live in New York State, and I was raised during the Cold War. I'm gonna be laughing about this for a while, and I want you to think about it. If you are, I'm 57. Oh, I didn't see everybody come in. Thank you for joining us all. And if you are my age or older, I'm 50. We're 50. I think Eric and I are 57, and I still remember Bert the Turtle. Do you remember Bert the Turtle, Eric? I remember having to watch this. Did you watch
What was it called?
Bert the Turtle, Duck and Cover?
I don't get out much. I'm sorry. I don't
Ah,
remember it.
well, I'm going to show
I
this. It
remember
was a
Sesame
video that
Street
was
and
shown. You know, I
and
I saw it. I had to watch it when I was teaching about the Cold War, and somebody said, "Oh well, you're going to talk about Bert the Turtle," and I was like, "Why do I remember that name?" And I saw the video. I was like, "Holy cow! I haven't seen this since I was in kindergarten." And I'm going to show this video to you. This was shown probably about the latest. I'm going to say, let's see, I was 4 years old when I went to school. So 1968, 69, somewhere around there is when they stopped showing this video. It's an old video, and it's hilarious today. I can't tell you how much my students laugh about this video. It's embarrassing to think that this country, the United States, actually put it out. And I don't have a better way to put it. It's embarrassing. to think that this video actually came out, in the United States, that we produced something like this. This is a civil defense film. There is no copyright of it. And I'm just going to set this up just a second. Come on. Got to get this ready. Okay. This will make everyone laugh. I guarantee it. Here we go. And for those of us who are Cold War people, here we go. Just going to mute myself for a second here. Dum dum, beetle dum dum, beetle dum dum, beetle dum dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered. He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you, duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover. This is an official civil defense film produced in cooperation with the Federal Civil Defense Administration and in consultation with the Safety Commission of the National Education Association. Produced by Archer Productions, Incorporated. Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please. Oh, all right. We really can't blame you. You see, Bert is a very, very careful fellow. When there's danger, this is the way he keeps from being hurt. Sometimes it even saves his life. That's why these children are practicing to duck and cover just as you do in your school. We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous. Since it may be used against us, we must get ready for it, just as we are ready for many other dangers that are around us all the time. Fire is a danger. It can burn whole buildings if someone is careless. But we are ready for fires. We have a fine fire department to put out the fire, and you have fire drills in your school so you know what to do. Automobiles can be dangerous, too. They sometimes cause bad accidents, but we are ready. We have safety rules that car drivers and people who are walking must obey. Now, we must be ready for a new danger, the atomic bomb. First, you have to know what happens when an atomic bomb explodes. You will know when it comes. We hope it never comes, but we must get ready. It looks something like this. There is a bright flash, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything you've ever seen. If you are not ready and did not know what to do, it could hurt you in different ways. It could knock you down hard or throw you against a tree or a wall. It is such a big explosion, it can smash in buildings and knock signboards over and break windows all over town. But if you duck and cover like Bert, you will be much safer.
The glass won't hurt you.
You know how bad sunburn can feel. The atomic bomb flash could burn you worse than a terrible sunburn, especially where you're not covered. Now, you and I don't have shells to crawl into like Bert the Turtle, so we have to cover up in our own way. First, you duck, and then you cover. And very tightly, you cover the back of your neck, your face. Duck and cover underneath a table or desk or anything else close by. In Betty's school, they're talking about the atomic bomb, too. Betty is asking the teacher, how can we tell when the atomic bomb may explode? And the teacher is explaining that there are two kinds of attack, with warning and without any warning.
You got an echo, Paul.
Oops, thank you.
Before the bomb explodes. So there will be time for us to get into our homes, schools, or some other safe place. Our civil defense workers and our men in uniform will do everything they can to warn us before enemy planes can bring a bomb near us. You may be in your schoolyard playing when the signal comes. That signal means to stop whatever you are doing and get to the nearest safe place fast. Always remember, the flash of an atomic bomb can come at any time, no matter where you may be. You might be out playing at home when the warning comes. Then be sure to get into the house fast, where your parents have fixed a safe place for you to go. If you are not close to home when you hear the warning, go to the nearest safe cover. Know where you are to go, or ask an older person to help you. You know the places marked with the S sign? They're safe places to go when you hear the alarm. If there is a warning, you will hear it before the bomb explodes. But sometimes, and this is very, very important, sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Then the first thing we would know about it would be the flash. And that means duck and cover fast, wherever you are. There's no time to look around or wait. Be like Bert. When there is a flash, duck and cover, and do it fast. Here are some older boys showing what to do if the flash comes when you are not in the classroom. This is what to do if you should be in a corridor. You duck and cover tight against the wall this way. Remember to keep your face and the back of your neck covered tightly. Try to fall away from windows or doors with glass in them. Then, if the glass breaks and flies through the air, it won't cut you. You might be eating your lunch when the flash comes. Duck and cover under the table. Then, if the explosion makes anything in the room fall down, it can't fall on you. Getting ready means we will all have to be able to take care of ourselves. The bomb might explode when there are no grown-ups near. Paul and Patty know this, and they're always ready to take care of themselves. Here they are on their way to school on a beautiful spring day. But no matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know what to do. Paul covered the back of his head so that he wouldn't be burned, and Patty covered herself with the coat she was carrying. They knew how to duck and cover. They acted right away when the flash came. If they had been at this doorway when the bomb flashed, Paul and Patty would have ducked and covered this way, like this girl. Heavy doorways are a good place to duck and cover. She will be safer, too. Here's Tony going to his Cub Scout meeting. Tony knows the bomb can explode any time of the year, day or night. He is ready for it. Duck and cover. Attaboy, Tony. That flash means act fast. Tony knows that it helps to get to any kind of cover. This wall was close by, so that's where he ducked and covered. Tony knew what to do. Notice how he keeps from moving or from getting up?
You know, I saw this film as a child, and when I saw it as an adult, I just had to laugh. Do you think ducking and covering will save your behind? And I think you gave the answer on Sunday, Eric.
Well, I remember seeing that now that you mentioned. I've seen that before. I think that today, with the strength of nuclear warheads today, Patty and Paul wouldn't be. I think that their photograph would be actually on that brick. That's how bright it would be. It would put their image on there as they turn into dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ducking and cover ain't going to help you today. I mean,
Like, yep, it's you know, the funny thing when I watch these videos, my students first pointed out is Paul crushes Patty into the wall. You know, he smashes her into the wall. All these little things, you know, you watch, and there's a lot more. I mean, every little video I picked up. Back then they were selling DVDs of all the civil defense videos, and I just, oh my gosh. And of course, they always seem to mention that when the glass fly, if you're ducking and covering, when the glass flies through the air, it won't hurt you. Okay, if there is a way that glass flying through the air won't hurt you, I mean, I get if you're wearing armor, maybe Kevlar. I don't know. Will Kevlar prevent glass flying through the air hurting you?
yeah, it would. It would if you got a flak jacket on it. It would protect you from glass.
But what about your arms?
Well,
in your head,
as long as your vital organs are protected, you'll be fine. You can lose a couple arms and a leg and still live. It's not going to protect you.
But
you're dead.
See, they're forgetting the heat factor. Oh my gosh. You know, I laugh about this because, you know, here we go. It is 2022, and how can we not know? How is it possible in 2022 that some young idiot from the Democratic Party in New York City, one of Biden's friends, didn't know you really can't survive a nuclear blast? I I'm going to play what they put out. Now, as you're watching this, remember this was on, it was a public service announcement. And all the Democratic main the major media outlets picked it up and they're laughing at it. Well, what's going on that all of a sudden, they're talking about this happening? Why are they talking about being prepared for nukes? What's going on there? I mean, that's quite a question by itself to ask. Oops, hold on. What's going on that they find a need to ask that question? And this is, I think, extremely important. What does it mean when you have to ask that question? I mean, what was the messaging that all of a sudden all the Democrats knew about it? I think this is actually extremely important to think about. Why were they all on the same page? Let's listen to what New York City said as a public service announcement. And this is the stuff that's scary. All right, and I'm just going to mute myself and put this up.
Meaningful evidence. You guys would be out there in the fight, right?
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why. Just know that the big one has hit. Okay? So what do we do?
So the Department of Emergency Management launched that public service announcement on what to do if there is a nuclear attack. If you can get inside, head to a basement or the middle of a building, remove all of your outer clothing, and monitor up to the government and the media again. The department says no specific threat has been made to the city, but they just want you to be prepared.
What kind of message is that? There's no threat. So why are you sending this out? I mean,
can you say false flag coming?
Well, I'm concerned. What is really happening? What is really happening when they have decided to do this? I mean, what are they telling people? That, okay, we have a president with dementia. To me, this is all about, this is all about a man leading us into confusion. Okay, now we have, we're talking nukes. Yeah, but we know you can't survive a nuke unless you're gullible enough to believe that you can duck and cover or hide in a basement and the glass won't hurt you.
Well, there's three things that a nuclear explosion causes. Well, actually, there's four things. Number one, you have light.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this intense light. Then you have the blast, which is the concussion of it, and that's what destroys. You can destroy. One bomb today can destroy the entire city of New York.
Yes.
Just completely level
Obliterate.
the whole thing. Yeah, just completely
obliterate
level.
the entire thing down to dust.
Right. So the whole thing would be burned to ashes and or blown to pieces. And then the last thing it produces is radiation. And it's the radiation.
Then there's the
the fourth thing was the electromagnetic pulse that it produces.
Yeah, there's the EMP. There's the
electric. For all your electrical appliances, your cars, the idea that
there's a heat wave
is completely out of the.
There's this wave that goes out afterwards too.
What's the concussion?
That's the concussion you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the concussion that it sends out.
Yeah.
So if you're not killed by the heat or the light, you'll be killed by the concussion. If you're not killed by the concussion, the radiation is definitely going to get you. And if you're thinking about trying to get away from the radiation, which is going to be spread for hundreds of miles, you're going to have to walk because your car's not going to work because it's going to fry all of the circuitry in your car. So good luck.
Now, here's a question. I thought the EMP is only produced when a nuke is blown up in the atmosphere and not when it hits the ground. Because you got the ground level explosion, and then you got the one in the atmosphere that produces the EMP. Does the one in the ground also produce an EMP?
That's
I believe so. That's the stuff they've actually.
It's just not going to be as widespread as if you would have it explode in the upper atmosphere. You're not going to get the amount of concussion because it's so far off the ground, but you're still going to get that electrical magnetic pulse pushing out. That's going to fry everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can fact check me on that, but I'm fairly certain it's the same thing if you do it at ground level. If you do it in the upper atmosphere, you're just not going to have as much. You're not going to do as much damage if you do it at the ground level.
Yeah. So what he's talking about, actually, if you want to do some research on it, look at the concept of dirty bombs and EMPs, because that is the thing that people are actually more fearful of, is dirty bombs over nuclear bombs. A dirty bomb is a nuke, but it is a small nuke. And they do produce, I mean, I can't remember how many little things I've watched on it. They do produce a low-level EMP, and destructive power is pretty significant, depending on the size. And they're talking about how these destructive ideas can be put in a suitcase. And some of the things some of the sessions I've taken, yeah, it's kind of scary. But why are the Dems all on the same page with this, that they had to come out and talk about it? Because, the thing that kills me, the Dems are eating their own. They're like, who is so stupid to put something out like this? And I still think the girl who's the actress, was just told to do this, and she has to justify her job, so she did it. Okay. Does that make her the idiot? No, it's the author. I'm sorry. It is the author who is the idiot. Would you really tell someone to do that? And of course, his name isn't on anything. You got to sit there and laugh at some of these things. My question is, what is the purpose? What is the real purpose here? Was COVID unable to create fear anymore? Are too many people laughing at those living in fear? Now, and this is where I say, Eric said it on Sunday. If there is such an attack, maybe it's best to simply think about, okay, I want to be closer. You don't want to live through it. The pain is not even a close, accurate description. So if this is not a symptom of confusion from the Biden administration, do they now need everyone to live in fear so that we blindly follow them? I don't think that's working very well anymore. There's no blind fear. Now, my number 2 is Biden's gaffe in Israel. Now, I don't know if everybody's heard this today. I saw this on MSN. And I'm like, wait, and this is Microsoft Network. Okay. And this, I was just, like, I heard about it. I saw it, and I went looking for it. I wanted to see somebody, a liberal station covering it. And they did. But they try to hide it. It's very careful. But it is so bad. If you are a Jewish person, what is the worst thing someone could do in front of you? I mean, basically, the Iranians do it. What is the one thing the Iranians glorify that Jews hate? It would be the Holocaust. And in fact, there is a video where David Horowitz is talking to this girl who's from the Muslim Student Association, and she's okay with the Holocaust happening again. In fact, she's having they're having Hitler Day with the Muslim Student Association, and she's okay with that happening again. So what would be the one thing the United States, people in the United States, should not do? It would be go to Israel and honor the Holocaust. Believe it or not, Joe Dementia did that. So let me pull this one up. This is just too unbelievable to... I don't have another word for it than unbelievable. Here we go.
Is this where he's not shaking somebody's hand again? Or
Oh, no, he's not shaking anybody's hands. Just
okay.
get this.
No, I mean, he went to shake somebody's hand that day and nobody was there again.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, you saw that one, Eric? That was so funny.
I saw the other one when he was standing there and okay. So I'm just showing you. I got this off MSN. I'm going to make this large so everybody can see it. This is just unbelievable. You can see MSN. Biden makes Holocaust gaffe during Israel visit. And this is yesterday. And you know what kills me? Microsoft Network got it from Fox News. Oh, I mean, don't you think that's unusual that Microsoft, one of these Bill Gates places, actually would cover something from Fox? And here's the article title. President Biden visiting Israel on Wednesday added yet another entry to his long list of gaffes, mistakenly saying we must keep alive the honor of the Holocaust.
Oh my God.
Okay. Don't believe me. Please don't believe me.
Continue to bear witness.
Let me play this from the beginning. This is just, it's humiliating to think that we have a president that is this befuddled.
Jewish lives.
Oops, sorry. Trying to get this back to the beginning. Come on.
Later today.
There we go. Try again.
Later today.
And the joy of live TV. All right. And we're going to get an advertisement. And I'm going to mute that. I have to say, when you hear this gaffe, you're going to sit there. How is this even possible that we don't remove this man for, number one, being dementia-ridden? He is not able to serve in a presidential role.
Republican nominee for governor, but with a record this extreme,
all right,
he's not
able to serve in that role. He doesn't have the mental capacity. That's the truth of the matter. And we're waiting for that to pop up. The joy of pulling something up off a news site. Sorry about the advertisement. Us Republicans are supporting the liberal Republican who was chosen, who isn't much different in New York State. All right, here we go. Come on.
Later today, I will once more return to the hollow ground of Yad Vashem to honor 6 million Jewish lives were stolen in the genocide and continue, which we must.
And it's, come on. It worked earlier. Sorry about that. Come on. And this is what happens when you make something big.
Jewish lives were stolen in the genocide and continue, which we must do every day, continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust, honor those we lost.
I get that he corrected himself, but he still did it. He still said it. Yeah, all those Jewish Democrats are silent.
And this is what we get. This is what you get when you hate when your hatred controls you at the ballot box. You had so many people out there that hated Trump that they voted for Biden, even though that they knew number one he was compromised, but number two that he did not have the cognitive ability to be the most important man on the planet. It's scary. Hey, if you share my screen real quick, Paul, if you don't mind.
Okay, let me just get there. And going back to the screen. Okay. All right. So there we go. There's nobody there. And was that in Israel?
That was in Israel today, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who's he talking to? Oh, the guy in his earpiece, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's who we got. That's our president. Congratulations.
Hey, come on now. He got 81 million votes, the most votes of any president, including Obama.
Yeah, he got 30% more votes than Obama and Hillary. And he campaigned from his basement.
And, yeah, could you imagine that?
Couldn't get more than maybe a handful of people. The election wasn't stolen, though. Don't you dare protest the election, or they're going to throw you in jail.
Hey,
and keep you without a chance of proving your innocence. Yeah,
well, people seem to be getting arrested now for voter fraud in 2020.
Oh yeah, and I worked the elections here in New York State. We have pretty strict rules, and I've actually been a person who was an election official who had to threaten someone who was electioneering too close to the site. And I couldn't believe it. I had to tell him, look, I'll have you arrested. He's like, you can't do that. I picked up my phone and he ran. Like, yeah, it happens. We do call the cops because, yeah, if you're doing your duty. And I will say this, in the area I was doing the elections this year, I still hate the electronic machines with a passion. I do. The electronic counting machines. In New York State, the system is now set up so it can scan your driver's license and find you. So they are moving in Libland, New York, towards voter ID. That says something to me. So you can have a state ID, a passport, and it would scan the scan for that particular, there's a thing it can scan, and that to me is kind of exciting. Voter ID, I think, is coming either from a national level or I just, that still surprises me. Biden getting any votes? I was amazed he got more than 20 to, when he had an immediate time to come. Here's the thing I'll say about this gaffe. I think that's extremely important to think about. Who really benefited from this gaffe? And that's what we need to think about. Who is the big benefit? Now, Associated Press wrote this. U.S. ally Israel considers Iran to be its greatest enemy, citing its nuclear program, its call for Israel's destruction, and support for hostile militant groups across the country. The U.S. and Israel are expected Thursday to unveil a joint declaration cementing their close military ties and strengthening past calls to take military action to halt Iran's nuclear program. Wait a minute. Is Biden speaking out of both sides of his mouth if he's doing this? Because isn't Biden at the same time, hasn't he said, okay, and they've already said that they've gone to a high enrichment of uranium, which the only purpose would be to create nuclear weapons? That's actually happening now, and it's already been reported in the news. The only purpose they're using those nuclear facilities for now is not to provide energy. It's to create nuclear weapons. That is now, it's already been out in the news. You can find it. You can find the high enrichment of nukes. And the Associated Press reported that. So who's the enemy of Israel? Iran. And who benefited from Biden's gaffe? My question is, was it a gaffe? Did he do it purposely? Well, because then he can tell his buddies in Iran, yeah, I said it. I don't know. Or did somebody put that up for him and he just unknowingly read it because he's just told to read stuff? You can't tell with this guy. And that's the stuff that bothers me. So is Jew hatred normal in the Democratic Party? That's something else we have to talk about. Is Jew hatred normal in the Democratic Party? Now, I say that, and I'm going to share this article. I'll get the link for you in just a second. And I'm going to share my screen. This really bothered me to see this, but I know it's happening more and more. It's harder to find. Democrats are becoming lovers of Jew hatred. And I'm going to grow this. Sorry, guys. Okay. It says, meet the Cory Bush activist who wants to burn Jews alive. This is Naveen Ayesh, who wants to set Israel on fire. This is written by Adam Credo on the 12th. That's just 2 days ago. Representative Cory Bush, a Democrat from Missouri, spent years cultivating a relationship with a pro-Palestinian activist who once tweeted that she wants to set Israel on fire with her own hands, she said, and watch it burn to ashes along with every Israeli in it. Bush, a member of the far left squad of lawmakers known for their anti-Israeli attitudes, this is a congresswoman we're talking about, has been working alongside anti-Israel activist Naveen Ayesh since 2017, according to information published by Canary Mission, a watchdog group that tracks anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic activists online. While Bush has publicly condemned attacks on the Jewish community, her relationship with Ayesh and other anti-Israeli activists is drawing accusations that these statements are simply empty rhetoric. Ayesh has been, and what just happened? All right. Are y'all still here? Everybody can hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Something just went bizarre on my screen, so I haven't figured out what it is.
It's
But
the
I
Biden
do know
vote.
my green screen has just disappeared. All right. Ayesh has been active in several leading anti-Israeli groups, including American Muslims for Palestine, organized a 2020 fundraiser for Bush that featured guests none other than Rashida Tlaib, one of Congress's most vocal opponents of the Jewish state, Linda Sarsour. Anybody need to hear more about Miss Care? And she's had the group titled Muslims for Cory. And that stuff is active on Act Blue. Okay. So Act Blue is financing some of this. Keep thinking about this. Bush, the watchdog group said, must provide her constituents with an explanation. Now, this is not George Bush we're talking about. This is Cory Bush, a Bush spokesman, did not respond to Free Beacon's request for comment. So let me show you some of her tweets. This is the stuff. This is from 2020 of this year, February 2020, February 26, 2022. I hope all of you who but Hamas us every time anything Palestine related comes up and are self-aware to the fact you're encouraging armed resistance by Ukrainian citizens who should be rising up against their oppressors. But somehow we have an issue with Palestinians doing the same. Let's see. Who gives them electricity? Israel. Who provides medical assistance whenever they need it? Israel. Who gave COVID injections when they needed them? Israel. When a Hamas official or one of these rich guys in these areas wants medical assistance, who do they go to? Jews. Israel. Yeah. Okay. let's see. This is what she said in 2014. I want to set Israel on fire with my own hands and watch it burn to ashes along with every Israeli in it. Call it what you want to call it. IDC, I don't care. This says something. Come on. Once again, she says, I want to personally set Israel and all the Israelis in a fire. This is March 2014. And she's just, this is the kind of person you want working for your campaign. Says, I tried befriending a Jew once. Worst idea ever. I know why there will never be peace in the Middle East. So this Jew hatred is becoming a standard within the Democratic Party. It's an acceptable standard. And that to me is extremely problematic. I sit here and I look at that. It says something. Are we seeing confusion? And that's my statement here is that creates a state of confusion within the Democratic Party because there are a lot of Jews in the Democratic Party. Will the Jews now hate themselves?
Paul?
Yes.
Isn't it also a growing number of Muslims in the Democrat Party? Because I think with that growth comes the Jew hatred.
Hi guys, thank you for joining. Yeah, that is I think the majority of the reason why the Democratic Party has gone towards Jew hatred. I think that is the number one reason why they went to saying they're not the party of God, because that's a recognition. The American recognition of God is not a recognition of Allah. So they had to stay away from that.
Correct. Yeah.
And that was their purpose with that. Again, they are the party that hates God, they removed God from their party, and then the party and not the people of the party put God back in without giving the people their choice, because their choice, if you listen to that,
you also
people said no.
You also have a growing number of Muslim Brotherhood front groups like the MSA and the MSU groups that are pushing the anti-Semitism also. And that's coming from the universities. So a lot of the Democrats and, a lot of the young people, I was young and I was a Democrat.
Well, that's what I get it.
But
I mean, I get being young. You can be a Democrat when you're young. Because you know what? You're young, you're stupid. I'm sorry.
And that's what I tell myself. Yeah, I was young and stupid. But they have those groups, and the growing number of anti-Semitism is coming out of them, those colleges. And they're going into professions like politics and lawyers and, other jobs and stuff. But that's what I see is the growing Muslim Brotherhood influence of anti-Semitism, and it's going into the Democrat Party, and that's what I'm seeing.
I'm actually concerned. I mean, my father has said it for years that the Democratic Party has left him. David Horowitz has said it. The Democratic Party left him. They have gone so communist, and I really don't see a difference anymore.
The only difference I see is one has a god and one the other one has like people gods, like the Stalin, Lenin, and they go more for people worship instead of Allah worship. But Islam does too. They worship Muhammad, and you're not even going to tell me that they don't.
He is the partner, the real partner. He is the puppeteer of the sock puppet known as Allah. And Red has my next issue is Bidenflation. And I saw this meme that Rad shared with me. I don't know if we can make that any larger, Rad. Sorry, no, Kufar, can you make that any larger? Oh boy.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I was trying to find a darn mute button. Okay, so you want me to make it a little...
Yeah, it's just kind of hard. Oh, that's good. I guess it's good. Make it fill the screen. It might help, I guess. There we go. All right. So this meme, I just want to point this out. They've been claiming that there was 7.4 million jobs Kufar, is that true?
Well, you got to find it because they say he added or created. Well, that's bullcrap because we lost 22 million uh, between the first couple of months of 2022. So he hasn't added any jobs. Those are just people simply coming back to work. So I replied to this brilliant individual and I said, okay, if Biden added 7.4 million in 17 months or 13 months, would it be fair for me to say that Trump added 12.6 million in 9 months? Because that's what he did. From the time that we lost, I think it was March and April or April and May, to the time that he left office, which was January of 2021, there was 12.6 million jobs that came back.
And that says something. And they said schools reopened. They said we're at 97%.
Yeah, that I didn't check because that to me wasn't important.
No, I think the figure is fairly close to accurate. I say fairly close. I've heard of individual schools, extremely rare, that are not back to operating fully. And there are students who still can choose, depending on their parents living in fear, whether to return to a school setting or not. Have you heard anything different, Eric?
No, I haven't. I was looking something else up while you were saying that too.
Okay.
I was because I was
We're
going
just
to the
talking about the
unemployment
schools
rate.
reopening.
Yeah, I don't know of any schools that are closed regionally because of COVID, and to try to try to accept responsibility for schools reopening is moronic. And the reason I say that is because the parents demanded that the schools reopen. It was the parents who pushed it. Biden had nothing to do with it. Biden was just all set to, leave them closed. There was nothing in his policies, or especially from his Department of Education, that was going to keep them closed. They were going to keep them closed. It was the parents who said, look, if the teachers don't want to teach in the classroom, tell them to go find another job.
I agree with you.
They should.
Yeah. All right. And the other one here, it says unemployment rate to 3.8%. Excuse me? I mean, are they saying that this is because of all those new jobs?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to say is, let me see. I think when Trump left, I think it was 6.3. Now, remember, between after, oh man, stuck. Sorry. January, February, March is when the lockdowns and all that whole COVID crap started.
Yeah.
So between like April and May, we lost 22 million jobs. Okay, so but the funny thing is that before this whatever you want to call it, pandemic, the unemployment rate was 3.5. Usually anything under like 4.5%, they consider that full employment, which I don't fully understand it, but that's what they call it. So, 3.5 would have been full employment according to the government. So I don't see how this is, important or a major thing. First off,
I don't think it's close to accurate, though, because I see more people having to take additional jobs
right,
because of the inflation. That's the difference I see.
yeah, I've done that, which I guess I'm going to have to do a show on that, where I used to track the monthly employment situation report. And I've done it for Obama and I did it for Trump. I don't think I quite finished it because it's a real pain in the butt, where I even break it down by age, by degree, and to see like where are we getting a job. So like under Obama, when I did Obama's, I noticed that most of the jobs were in the categories where people were not well educated. You're talking from the 16 till about the, early 30s, and
Yeah, you're
a lot
looking
of people,
young new job entrants. Yes.
And a lot of people in the 40 to 54 seem to have been losing jobs. I'm pretty sure they weren't retiring.
Oh, right now, I mean, I came out of retirement. I know I've talked to other people who say they can't afford to stay retired because of the increase in food costs and everything. I mean, the cost of gas. So
Right.
I'm just kind of blown. I don't know how you took the little trip you did, Eric. It's so expensive. Oh, you have two family income though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I
Can
just
I show my screen, Paul?
Yes, please.
Can I show my screen
Let
real
me
quick?
see.
Yeah, this would explain why it's that low. This graph right here.
Okay.
This is the participation rate. So if you look here, prior to COVID, the participation rate for our country was sitting at 63.4%.
Grow this so everybody can see it. There we go.
There you go. Okay, so you're sitting at 63.4%. That's the participation rate. That's the percentage of American citizens that are in the workforce. So when you come over here and you look at here, it's a full percentage point. It's over a percentage point less. 1.2% less people are in the labor force today. So when you're counting that many less people in the labor force, then what that's going to do is that's going to drop your unemployment rates. The rate of unemployment.
You know what? That's
so the number of people that you're counting is less. So therefore, what's that?
That's the same strategy Obama used when he did his unemployment rates.
That's right. Yep, it's a numbers game, and they're playing it well.
I used to when I was back when Obama was in charge and doing those things, I was having my students do things with computers, and we would look at that, the unemployment rate, and I'd say, okay, so how many are in the workforce? They're like, oh, they dropped another,
Is it diet?
Yeah. They dropped another 1.5 million or something, they would say. And, I kind of laugh about it. And, you sit there and this is just kind of silly, is the only way I can put it. When you're dropping people from the unemployment, from the employment force, you are not being honest with your stats. I mean, it's one thing if they're aging out. If that's your excuse, you hit this age, we take you out. But otherwise, we have an issue.
Yeah, you can get your numbers to say just about anything you want to. It just depends on who you're counting, and they're not counting as many people. And the reason is many of the people aren't even bothering going back into the workforce. So those people who didn't bother to go into the workforce, number one, you don't have to count them as being unemployed because they're not even trying to get a job anymore. So that's
exactly.
And then I'm wondering at what percentage of all of these recent immigrants are taking jobs also.
Well, my understanding currently on the immigrant issue is it's near, if we're just talking about the massive Afghani, they're not legally refugees, migrants, because they were removed by us. So legally, they don't qualify for refugee status. So,
no, I'm talking about the waves that come across their southern border.
I'm just picking on that just for now. The Muslims, we do know, have an incredibly lower rate of employment. I mean, an incredible low. I've heard numbers as low as 90% unemployment from the Afghans. So I don't have anything to verify that right now.
What are they doing? They're just sitting in these internment camps?
Yeah. I want to share this. This is Biden's take on the inflation rate. And let me get this up. Here we go.
We are suffering from inflation imposed as a consequence of what's going on in Ukraine, but we have the lowest rate of almost every major nation.
Did everybody catch that? The lowest unemployment rate of almost every nation. Does anybody
historically, we have the lowest rate of unemployment especially if you look at Europe. Europe sits in perpetuity of about 10% unemployment. That's just kind of standard because everything is so socialized over there, where they don't, they have so many benefits to go to the society, but you're paying off the top 20% of your income to a value added tax on everything you buy. So, if you want to pay, if you want to live in a utopia like that, you go ahead and have it. But historically, our country has always had some of the lowest unemployment rates. So to brag about that is
this is inflation rate, and he's bragging inflation rate, and this is where I think he's way off. Right now, they're encouraging people in Texas to go to Mexico to fill up because their gas is like $3 a gallon and ours is $5 or $6.
Yeah, I think it was like $4.85.
Yeah,
on the north side of the border, and it was $3.12 in Mexico.
Yeah.
Now, how does that make sense? That you're gonna drive to Mexico and then you're gonna come back. By the time you come back, you're gonna be out of gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's something that I
if you drive a carbon footprint like I do, like a Suburban, that's probably true. But if you drive a Yugo, I mean, you could probably get away with it.
If we look at the gas prices from 2012 and 2013, because some liberal on Twitter was talking about it, and you compare it to what we're paying now, even under Biden, it's really not that much difference when you adjust it for inflation. I looked at it; it's pretty much we're actually under what the gas prices were in 2012, 2013.
When it spiked when Biden was president, or when Obama was president? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, 2013, 2012. Yeah, he was president.
Well, the reason why they're also paying less is instead of giving subsidies to American car or purchase people who buy gas, like Mexico's doing, we're selling our oil reserves, our strategic oil reserves, to places like China.
That should be treason right there.
It is treason.
It is treason. It's not even legal by any manner of a stretch of imagination. And that is something he can legally be charged with, because this is a high crime. He has taken property of the people of the United States and given it not only to China, but the people who would financially provide income for that crack pedophile known as his son.
And I will chime in on that. I will leave that as my cue. If if you guys have not got a subscription, I highly recommend it. Fox Nation. It's free for the first month, or 99 cents for the first month. And just the Who is Hunter Biden videos, documentaries, they're in 20-minute segments, is well worth the price of admission. Okay? Yeah. This dude, let me just explain a little bit about Hunter Biden, the smartest man that Joe Biden knows. So he knocked that chick up. Oh, by the way, she might not be a stripper. She was an employee. No, she was an employee of his company, Seneca, whatever. Okay, it was called. Okay, she gets knocked up, gets pregnant. She tells him about it, emails, and constantly haranguing him, doesn't want anything to do with her. He finds out she's pregnant, and what does he do? He cuts her off of the insurance. Seriously, sends an email to his person that was handling all that. Who's all on the payroll? He didn't even know who's on the payroll, which was his wife, his ex-wife, his widow lover, her sister, who was also his lover. God, this guy, man, just unbelievable. And a couple other crackheads, right? And the girl that he knocked up. So they fired her, and he immediately removed her from the insurance plan after he found out she was pregnant. This has been verified by the person who he sent the email to, okay? And his only concern was, if we remove her, will this knock us down where we won't have insurance, or I won't have insurance? Or how will this affect my premium? That's the only thing he was worried about. This is the smartest man Joe Biden knows.
Yeah, this is and a lot of this is where I'm looking at all this. I see all this stuff happening, and I'm want to get back on that inflation issue for a second, is because I see this all as creating confusion. And when people are creating distractions, they don't want you to see things.
Right.
If you can't see the lack of money in your wallet compared to what it was in 2020, something is wrong with your head. I'm sorry. I am spending $20 to $30 more a week on food, just for me. It's an incredible increase. Because of public transportation in my area, that price hasn't gone up. But for everybody else in gas prices, unbelievable. So food and work, you should be expecting another huge increase, I would say October, November, from what I'm reading. I want to share this
Oh yeah,
screen with you.
they're actually going to raise the interest rates drastically now because they're going to raise it by a couple points. The next time the Fed comes, they're going to raise it by 2 or 3 points. They're saying. That's what's coming.
Yeah, I want to get on the inflation issue just for a second, and I want you to hear. This is an interview by Libland CNBC of Ted Cruz in response to the economy. Of course, they don't like his answers, so you can laugh as you want, but this I think is interesting. Here we go.
Light at the end of the tunnel I see is that we've got an election coming in November, and I think the November election is going to be a big, big election, changing the path we're on. I have to say, I'm here in Washington, D.C. today, and this place is surreal. The Democratic White House, the Democratic majorities we have right now, they see these inflation numbers, the highest numbers since 1981, and their answer is to pour more gasoline on the fire. They're debating right now. Their idea is spend trillions more money and raise taxes even more. And this is exactly backwards what you would want to do if you actually wanted to stop inflation, to bring it under control. We've got right now the highest inflation rate since 1981. 1981 was after 4 years of Jimmy Carter. And it really is striking that Biden has been able to produce in a year and a half what it took Jimmy Carter 4 years to produce. And the Democrats don't seem to have learned any lesson other than doing more of the same that got us in this mess to begin with.
Right. There's a lot of negative externalities that obviously we're dealing with in terms of reopening. That's one. In terms of supply chain, lingering issues there. Senator, Joe Biden didn't appoint Jay Powell. His predecessor did. And obviously, there's a lot of pointing at the number of dollars that were printed, which are now chasing, too few goods. And I know, you probably have never uttered the words Putin price hike, but that has rippled, the invasion of Ukraine has rippled through all different sectors.
Yeah, but let's take each of those. Let's take each of those one at a time, which is number one. Yes, the economy reopened, which was great for the economy, and it had been Democratic politicians who had largely shut down the economy for far too long. That was a good thing for the economy, getting people back to work. That didn't drive inflation. What drove inflation is the Democrats got in power and they set as their priority spending trillions of dollars. And they could have decided to work in a bipartisan manner, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted to just go on a spending binge. They had power, and a lot of us, myself included, were saying, if you spend these trillions of dollars, if you print money that we don't have, the result is going to be inflation. And Joe Biden, the White House, they laughed at it. They said there is no inflation. No real economist says there's inflation. They said it's transitory. Everything they said was malarkey. And then the Putin price hike, as you pointed out, that's the White House's latest talking point on inflation. Let's be clear. Gasoline prices had risen 48% before Putin invaded Ukraine.
Right.
And that, okay, so, and whose goal was it to destroy? Who said it was his goal to take down the gas prices? Who came up with that? Oh, and in case you forgot, I have that ready to just a second. I will play for you what Biden said to then President Trump in the debate. So this is something worth paying attention to. Again, it is what Biden said. It is not what any of us said. It is what Biden said. So watch this. This is going to blow your mind. All right, let me just get this up.
expensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, your response, and then we're going to have a final question for both of you.
My response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this. They live near chemical plants that in fact pollute, chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute. I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware. And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car when there was first frost to drive me to school, turning the windshield over, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutions the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would
question.
it close down the oil industry?
It falls.
Would you close
it
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes. I
Oh,
would
that's a big
transition.
statement.
It is a big statement
That's a
because
big statement.
I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
I see.
Here's the deal, but
That's
you
a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to the gas, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All right.
to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
we're
you heard
remembering,
it.
all right.
Okay, he said it in 2020. Oh, that was there. It was 2019 or 2020 when he said that. I mean, think about this. I mean, it says it right on. I think it said it on there. This interview was, what does it say? October 23rd, 2020. Okay. I mean, he told people, and Trump warned everybody. Did you hear what he said? He wants to shut down the oil industry. And, people are okay, that's not going to happen. But it was Biden who said it. It wasn't anybody else, and I wanted to check something because he lies so much. Biden is known for lying so much. I wanted to check if he was actually telling some of the truth, and I looked. Okay, so he said he lived in the Claremont area, and he was talking about the refineries. Okay, there's a refinery, in the area. He supposedly lived. He said Claremont, but that's not where they're recording him having lived. They said he lived in the Newcastle area, which is actually 5 to 6 miles away from the refinery. So maybe he did experience some of these things that he's talking about. I don't know that there was that many refineries as he talks about, because currently there is only one, and I don't have a way to look back and see those records right now. I think his answer's off.
I'm going to chime in here real quick. Only thing that about this story that I wish was true that he would have got the cancer long before he became president. I'm just saying. But I grew up in an area called Blue Island where they had a Clark refinery, and I was probably five. I have to look it up. You know what? I should do that when I get home. Look it up. I was probably 5 miles away from it. We never smelled it, but when you drove past it, as a matter of fact, it was a shortcut that the buses would take sometimes, and they drive the bus through it. It was really nasty and bad, and it made your eyes water and burn and stuff. But and they stopped the buses from doing that. But yeah, that's I find it hard to believe if he lived 5 miles away from the refinery, he was experiencing any of that. Okay, no, he's just so full of crap, dude.
Yeah, well,
He lies about
my
everything.
thoughts. There's in my neighborhood we had Kodak here, and we never had the Depression here. It never happened here in Rochester, New York, thanks to Kodak. When Jimmy Carter had issues with inflation, it really didn't affect us, except for the new rules that said you could only buy gas on certain days. And depending on what number your license plate ended in. All right, because it didn't affect us because Kodak kept everything here economically sound. So we missed a lot of that here. I was And during Carter's time, I was junior high. I think Carter came in somewhere where I was junior high and went out when I was in high school. I look at that as stupidity. We listened to him, and again, I think what I think it says something. What Cruz said. It took Biden 1 year to wreak the amount of havoc that it took Jimmy Carter 4 years to do. That says something. All right. Bidenflation. This is the thing. Bidenflation is a statement that America is leaderless, as far as I can see. And someone is directing the ship, but it's not an American who loves America. It's an America who loves crime and profits from it. Oh, who could we be talking about? Could it be the guy?
Hunter Biden.
Well, that's a possible. I look at this, and I've actually seen videos recently that hint that maybe it's China. I mean, if we can get Biden to give us American property that everybody will know about, and nobody will say a thing. Oh, wouldn't that say we're in charge? I've heard that. I see that as a high crime. I see it as treasonous, and there is no excuse in my understanding of law that any senator or congressman does not charge him with a treasonous action or with a high crime for this. I think it is an absolute must. It must be done for the sake of protecting America. I believe that these actions require all members of Congress to act. If they think Trump was, giving a speech was dangerous, don't you think giving half of our oil reserves to a country that wants to kill us, wants to destroy us, don't they think that's treasonous? Rather than quid pro quo Joe getting away with something?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does the political party have to be in power before they bring, say, Biden to?
And that is a question I've actually asked that question, and have had students ask me that. And the answer is no. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It matters that the people who are holding the office of congressman and senator do their job. The only
vote against him.
Yeah. The only problem today, I would say, is there's like a supermajority in the House. And they are not allowing things. They've changed rules and things. They're not allowing things to be even considered to be voted on if they don't like them. And that's where you run it. That's where you'll hear that discussion. So here's another side thing that's going on with Joe Dementia. Joe Dementia has also decided he would be against, and he told us when he ran for office he would be against it. He'd be against something called ghost guns. And who in here knows what a ghost gun is? He actually signed into law something to prevent ghost guns.
Yeah,
Wait, you had something.
You rig it. It's a gun that you rig, right?
Nope.
What?
No. Actually, ghost guns. I'm going to play a little. I have a link here. I actually had to go look it up. And his goal. I'm going to come back to the economy in a minute because I think that's actually very important. Still, I don't want to leave that all alone. But so I went and I found this definition. I had to go look it up, and he did this whole video.
Oh, Ron's got the answer. It's been 3D printed, and you can't. It's got no serial number to it.
Well, that's what Biden's definition is. That's not the real definition. And this is what I found interesting, because I found what you're talking about as a definition. And there's problems with that definition. Again, when you start looking for answers, and I found that one, and it just seemed slightly off, and I couldn't understand why it seemed off. So I found this, and yes, it is on a gun manufacturer site, but I thought, who would be better to explain what a ghost gun is than a manufacturer? And this is interesting.
Ghost gun myths. There's been a lot of media attention recently regarding so-called ghost guns. It's important to note that this term is one created by anti-gun groups, and the homemade firearms in which they are referring to don't present a public safety problem. Let's take a look at some of the common misconceptions regarding these firearms. This is a new and dangerous phenomenon. False. Americans have always had the ability to legally make firearms on their own, and some choose to do so as a hobby. It has not created a wave of ghost guns. This is the exception, not the rule. The overwhelming majority of firearms are bought through commercial sales, with a background check, produced by manufacturers, and sold by retailers that are federally licensed and regulated. 3D printers can produce undetectable firearms. False. It's already illegal to manufacture, import, sell, ship, deliver, possess, transfer, or receive an undetectable firearm. Even firearms produced with 3D printing technology require components made of metal. In addition, ammunition cartridges are made with metal components that are detectable. California ATF agents reported 30% of recovered firearms were ghost guns. False. Ghost guns in this instance refers not only to 3D printed or 80% firearms, but to any unserialized firearm recovered by the ATF. The vast majority of unserialized firearms recovered are commercially manufactured firearms with obliterated serial numbers, which is a criminal act on its own that contributes to the black market. 80% or unfinished firearm receivers allow criminals to quickly and easily create firearms. False. These 80% lowers are closer to a hunk of plastic or metal than a working firearm receiver. End users are required to perform meticulous drilling and labor with hand tools in order to create a working firearm component. It's important to note that this legal activity is still regulated by state and federal firearm laws. Ghost guns are a gun control boogeyman. Manufacturing and selling firearms without a federal license is already illegal. Federal law requires a license to engage in the business of selling firearms. All firearms created for personal use or for sale by a licensed manufacturer are subject to the Gun Control Act, the Untraceable Firearms Act, and the National Firearms Act. To learn more, visit nssf.org.
We can't hear you, Paul.
Okay.
Hey, Paul, no.
I saw that, and I wanted to. I mean, I have a lot of friends who own guns. I personally do not yet. And I was looking at Joe Biden's claim that he's against. He's been saying for years he wants to end firearms in some respect, and he'll say like, I think he's the idiot who said fire a warning shot. Is he the one that said that? I'm pretty sure. I think he said it while Obama was president. Make sure you fire a warning shot. Like, okay, yeah, really. Do you think if you fire in the air that bullet doesn't come down?
Are you talking about when he said you should buy a shotgun and fire a warning shot?
Fire a warning shot, yeah.
Yeah, that was the idiot in chief.
Yeah. So here's the problem with that. Again, there are books written about the guy who fired a gun in the air, and the bullet came down and killed somebody.
Yep.
And I mean that you can't get dumber than that, but that's what I expect of a man with dementia. A ghost gun can be just something you made at home for yourself. Now, when you start to sell them, that's when you get into regulation, and you have to put a registration on it. You can't manufacture it and then sell it. When you're making it for yourself as a hobby, that's something else. So that's where, again, privately made, you're allowed to make these things for yourself. And these lowers, you can't do these things with without the skill sets. You won't be able to do this stuff without the knowledge. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. What killed me was Australia was covering this. And Australia thought it was, hey, we're going to start outlawing guns. Well, again, I look at this, the purpose here is I see this purpose with Biden is solely to create confusion. And I see that as incredibly problematic. And what does that mean? What is he doing? I mean, he's this confusion, this economy that we have. You had a graph you wanted to share earlier. Who far is that still up? Yeah, it is. Let's put that in. All right. And did you want to talk about that again? This confusion, I think, this is what's going on with this.
Well, you had mentioned about how much you're paying extra per week.
Yeah.
And this is a graph of what how things have gone up for me. And for me, and that's just a couple items that I buy, is that I'm paying over 50%. And I'm talking about milk, eggs. If I blow it up, let me see. You probably won't be able to see it.
Bread at the local store, at the local IGA. I couldn't believe it. I go to Aldi's and it's 99 cents. The local IGA bread was $4. I couldn't believe the difference in price.
Oh yeah, like the first one that you see is egg. Oops, going the wrong direction. Oops. Okay. All right, buddy, get a hold of yourself. It's kind of hard to do this without a mouse.
Oh, I get that.
All right, so like eggs. Okay, if I go over here without the graph, I don't know if you can see it over here.
Okay, we can see that.
Oh, okay, so these are just items that I buy every single damn month, and I kept track of. This is how much it was when Trump left office.
100% increase.
This is how much eggs. Oh, but this is nothing. It's gone down. I bought eggs at $3.98. So if I change that to $3.98, now you're talking almost 200% increase.
Yes. And this is what was your milk recently?
Milk. I haven't bought milk recently, but the last time I bought was, I think, like 3 weeks ago. It was $2.39 before, Mr. Dementia took office, and then it was $3.83. That's a 60% increase. This is the creamer. Now, all this creamer, the milk, everything here is pretty much the store brand. We're not talking about name brands. So this would be the Walmart creamer that used to cost me $1.84. Last time I bought one, which was about 2 weeks ago, I paid $2.43. That's 32% increase. Right? Gas, I paid $2.39. I paid $4.60. Now it's $4.39. So you're looking at a 92% increase. Graham crackers, which is 3 packs. It used to be $1.26. It's $1.76. Now you might say, come on, man, it's only 50 cents, but that's almost a 40% increase. 80-20 hamburger used to be $3.98. I think I just bought one this past Sunday. I think I paid $5.41. Again, you're looking at 31%.
I have seen, the price of meat has gone up significantly here.
When you add all this together, I'm paying just for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 items. I'm paying 52% more. So when they tell me that inflation is 9.1, I just want to laugh.
Oh, that's the other thing about that. Again, I see this as purposeful, and you and I have been going back and forth. My personal thoughts. What is this purpose and this confusion? And I will share them because I'm speculating. I'm not saying anything, but I do believe that the purpose is to create, is to get the Christians, the conservatives, the people who own guns, to cause disruption. And they wanted this to happen during the summer before the elections. I think they believe that we will attempt a coup because you're messing with our income. And I don't think that's going to happen because, first of all, we're Christians.
They're already, tempting treason and tearing up our country and bringing it down, and and you think our prices are going up. To their little stupid heads, they're probably going, well, wait till we're not feeding you anymore. You're griping about money prices right now. I mean, this is the spirit of murder. Okay, I will say this because I speak
I'm
as a
not. I'm
Christian
not disagreeing
spiritually.
with you. In fact, I am agreeing 100%.
Oh,
I
I
think
know.
that is
Oh, I
part
know.
of their intent is to create. So I live in Rochester, New York. Right now, they're talking about Rochester, New York being a murder capital. We've had the greatest amount. I mean, almost every night there's a shooting. It seems like here. When I was a teacher, I used to read the newspapers in the morning for the purpose to see which kids wouldn't show up. And I got away from that because it was just too sickening. There would usually be somebody within, a month or two that was shot or something. And the amount of increase, again, the violence, our issue here in New York State, they let the kids out who commit murder. They let the kids out who commit all sorts of crimes. You know what they're not doing? They're not keeping them locked up. Now, I'm going to share one more article, and this will be my last thing on Biden and his felonious Democrat commies.
Lens?
Guns again.
Paul, real quick,
Yes.
if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, Ron was telling me in the Netherlands they're starting to track the people on how much food they're buying. Make sure there's no people that are stocking up. But the thing is if there's no food, that's what you do. An ant knows this. This is called survival.
Yeah, and it's
terrible.
They're
So-
actually they've been documenting that. We've kind of been told that. I don't know if it was Kufar I was talking with. He has a prepper group on Facebook, and he may want to promote that in a little bit. But there's actual discussions on that. Are they tracking your purchases, and see if you're prepared or where to get the food, or a lot of discussions about that. I want to get back to this discussion on felons and Democrats real quick. So I mentioned Rochester, New York. Now we just had this is from the news today. It says 4-time Rochester felon receives jail time for gun possession. A Rochester resident was sentenced for being a felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition today. The district attorney's office announced Tuesday. 40-year-old Roosevelt Collins was sentenced to serve 18 months in prison for the charges, which he pled guilty to back in February. So keep thinking about this. He's been, they've just kind of let you know that this guy just got charged with 18 months. My question is, was he out and walking around? I mean, he is a parole violator. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of questions here. Collins was previously convicted of felony charges. Now, get these years. 2001, 2005. Okay, so that was 4 years. Okay, next one. 2010. Oh, that was 5 years. Oh, again in 2015. That was 5 years. Was waiting to 2022. I mean, so he got various drug charges, which legally prohibits from owning a firearm. In 2021, members of the U.S. Marshals Task Force were surveilling him due to his possible connections with a shooting incident on July 2nd of 2021. And he was taken into custody after he was found to have a 9mm semi-automatic pistol in plain view on the floor of his front passenger seat. You can't make this stuff up. And this is the point. I mean, if Biden and his commie friends wanted to really make a stop, make a headway on fighting crime or fighting, let's say, illegal guns. They would go back to one of the things that was being done. I think it started under one of the Bushes, where they made, if you're caught with a gun and it's an illegal, you don't legally own it, it's a federal crime. And you get federal time. There used to be advertisements locally in my city for this. And I don't see them anymore. Is it no longer a federal crime? I mean, those are questions I now have. Have they decided not to do that? And, this is where I say you're 100% right. It is murder. We're
Okay.
having a lot of people killed because they're
The
not.
spirit of murder. What about in the Constitution about, that it shall not be infringed to us? Why did the government say, well, okay, now you have to be registered. Now you got to do this. That's not in the Constitution.
It's all about, again, they want you to believe that your rights come from government. This is what they started teaching.
Well, that's
in
bull.
Europe.
That's a lie, and that should be treasonous too, because if we have a constitution, it's just like our Bible. If it's not in there, don't add to it, because if not, the wrath comes on the government from the people.
Well, the Constitution tells us those rights that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, and guess what? We're also talking about the Declaration of Independence, because that is
you
considered
go.
part of the law of the land.
Yep.
It says that these rights come from God.
The Lord Jesus Christ, God Almighty. Yes.
So without God, and this is, in the beginning of this country, we had a guy come here from France, and he talked about how could this country survive with this kind of government. He's going through and he's looking at it, and he writes this beautiful book on democracy. And he says the reason why it works here is because they're Christian. They have a love of God. Their culture allows this. So it says something about Europe back in the 1700s. They had left God. Eric, did you have something to say?
Yeah, are you talking about de Tocqueville?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys.
Oh, I loved his book. I can't remember Democracy. Can't remember the name of it. It's sitting on my shelf. Can't grab it right now, but yeah. There is so much out there. I mean, this is the stuff you sit there and you wonder, how do we get these facts out? I mean, people don't understand how important your freedoms are. Biden thought he would tell everybody, oh, he's trying to stop people from owning illegal guns when he's talking about ghost guns. It has nothing to do with really illegal guns. All right. Really, all that stuff about the taking off the serial numbers, that's already illegal. He's only talking about trying to stop people selling guns they made. Okay. That's already illegal. Okay. If they were selling them without a serial number. So, yeah. The only place they get allowed to do that, you're
not illegal.
Oh, you want to know where they're
it's
allowed?
Not illegal. See, it's not illegal because it's not in the Constitution.
Yeah, but
see, the thing is if we give it to them, then they take more and more and more and more. So see, it's not illegal.
Here's where right now where you can make your own gun and sell it and no cop will arrest you. You ready? And it's not a sell. In fact, it's a give. On Give Back Day, you make a gun out of, I've actually seen this. Somebody took PVC piping, made a small gun type device, handed it in, and got $100. It cost him $10 worth of PVC pipe, and he made $100 for a gun buyback. He walked out of there laughing.
Like, not too bad.
Yeah. Okay, $10 to make $100. Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Make a few of those and you got some extra cash.
I don't know if there was a limit, but you sit there like, holy cow. Yeah.
At least two, Now, I don't know about PVC, Now, I've seen them with piping. PVC, I don't know if I'd want to trust that, but I've seen it with
I've seen it with piping too.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I saw the video on YouTube of the guy who was showing how to make one to turn it in.
I've seen that one too.
I thought that was hilarious. He made the stock out of like I think it was a 2x4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might be the one I was saying. Yeah, one of the ones I'm thinking of. All right. So let me get this straight. Again, all we can do at present, I need to say this is wait till the actors playing politicians are voted out of office. That's our job as Christians.
If they don't cheat. If they don't cheat.
We have to, and here's the other thing. We're going to vote them out, but we also need to play the monitors. We need to be the school monitors in this case. All right, so you need to be volunteering to be election officials and to do something else. Monitor. In New York State, and I believe it's only 14 other states, which still blows my mind. I did not know there was only 14 states that require 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans for each machine. And that just blows my mind the more I think about it. For each district, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans are required. Just to think that that's allowable. I mean, that they can have all one party running a machine, just a voting site, just blows my mind. I had no concept of that. That makes a lot more sense about how cheating happens to me.
They call it Philadelphia is where they call
it. Yeah. Yep. That's yep. I remember during Obama running for office at what was it? There's a black military, was like a revolutionary type military group that was taking over a site and not letting any white folk go in to vote.
Yeah, that was the Black Panthers.
Panthers. That's what.
Yeah, they said
the new Black Panthers.
Yeah, where you're going to elect a black man today, and if you're not voting for him, you don't get in, with a stick, the big old baton, and that did not warrant any type of investigation. No arrests were made for voter intimidation. Just sit there and shut your mouth and take it. My favorite one is that there was an entire district, not one person voted for McCain. Now, I get, McCain being the candidate that he was, but you would think that you would have at least one person errantly cast a ballot for him. But the entire district, whatever precinct that was, every single vote for the president was for Obama.
Yeah,
that's criminal, and nobody said anything.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's what I'm talking about, people. That's what I'm talking about, people.
Yeah.
We need to vote like Republicans. Vote early, vote often, and let your dead relatives vote twice.
Well, I'm not going to endorse illegal activity just because Democrats do that. And I will say it's not a Democrat problem. Guess what? I've seen it in the Republican Party too. So it is not a one-party problem. The issue is we have to hold something called election integrity. We have to force that integrity upon others. And I say force. What do I mean by that? By physically being present. That means you get people to go to each polling site and simply watch. Poll watchers are important. I would say connect with True the Vote, go through their training, hook up with local people, and see where you can be effectively used. That's incredibly important today. Wow, I didn't realize we're this late. I might run out of time. I was going to share a David Wood video that I saw this week, and I know I'm running out of time. I don't think I can do it today, but I will definitely share it next week because that's more in line with what I wanted to do next week. And I will tell you, this is one of the things I'm kind of amazed at. I still consider myself late to the game as far as Islam. I say late to the game. I was so willingly ignorant for so long. I chose not to know some things. And that's why I say willingly ignorant. I chose not to start looking at what does Islam teach, what does Islam preach, what's in their scriptures. And the more I spend time to actually learn, I'm more mind blown today. I'm just spending time listening to Rob Christian, Usama Dakdak, my friends here some that are here today. I am more amazed than ever that I think Islam destroyed itself. And they did it in the first centuries after the Quran was published. And whichever one you're talking about, I'm going to start suggesting people listen to Rob Christian. He does there's some of the stuff he's put out. I got to go back and take notes. I don't normally do that during a video, but I'm kind of mind blown. So I'm been listening to a lot of great evangelists, people who are doing stuff. Hatun, she's sitting there, and Eric talks about this, the different Qurans. Well, Hatun was sitting there with Arab Muslims and showing them that there are different Qurans. And the shocked expression and the discussion that comes from this, I think, is mind-numbing. And I think that, again, being Christians, our job is to share the truth. How can we be effective? Not just politically, but sharing the gospel. And we have to start thinking about that, because we're not going to get a win simply because we have the best candidate or something like that. We have to get a win by sharing Christ first. I think that's the most important. All right. In order for people to find out what evil is, they have to learn who Jesus is. Then they can learn what sin is. Then they know what evil is, and they won't vote Democrat. And that's my best solution to solving the election problem. Oh, so what does that mean? I personally do not believe you can vote Democrat and call yourself a Christian. And that is because the Democratic Party has made abortion part of their platform. They are willing to assault people who, and they've come out publicly and said this, who will stand against abortion. I'm sorry, if you're going to stand for death of babies, even after they're born, which now in at least one state has ruled that you can kill a baby, was it up to 9 months after it was born? It's almost like Sharia. It's kind of scary. We have to be the ones that are the best informed. We have to be the ones to share Christ. We have to do that, because without doing this today, we're opening ourselves to a lot more trouble than we ever imagined. Wow. I want to say thank you.
Something.
Yes, please.
Okay. To jump out there and to start converting Muslims I really wish it would happen, and it does happen. But we as Americans are so unprepared. We don't realize that they get shunned by their families, and that's the very least, or they get killed. Yes. They need somewhere to go. We don't have any place for that, or that type of a thing. I've been to interfaith dialogues. Our own Christians, and I've been to only Protestant ones and Jewish ones. Our own Christians and rabbis become useful idiots, and they help our own Christians become useful idiots to the Muslim Brotherhood. And I'm not even going to say the Catholics are any better, because they got something really bad in the Vatican II catechism, and I'm a Catholic. And I'll tell you the truth, every time I get near a priest or somebody talking about it, I bring that up. Basically, when the door opens, I jump in.
Now, ecumenism, I consider evil, and I consider it, after having dealt with that as a teenager and seeing the evil in it, and
The
growing up
thing
in an
is,
incredibly liberal.
we don't have any type of training. I do think the Protestants are better trained at evangelizing, but I don't think we have the type of training to go evangelize to a group of people that basically believe in killing their own if they turn.
I think
Okay, the
right now in the
Jehovah's,
States we have laws against domestic abuse, and because of laws against domestic abuse
that
and
doesn't stop it.
protections in place.
Yeah, I was about to
That doesn't
say,
stop
man,
it.
there's so
You know
many
what? You want to
mercy
get on to
killings.
the
Yeah,
latest
I'm
news.
not
That's
saying there
right.
aren't.
That's
I'm
right.
not
Our
saying
laws
there.
aren't stopping Islam
No,
at
no,
all
I'm
for the
just saying
most
that
part. Yeah.
these laws, and there are laws against stalking and other things. These laws actually do provide the protection. Let's say you leave your faith and you have problems at home. Let's say you're a child and you leave your faith. Now that allows CPS to get involved. All you have to do is say something. Is it something you want to do? Well, to protect your life, sometimes you have to do those things.
Okay, during the Obama years, what he did was he took out all the warnings to our military and our security agencies about what Islam is.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of these people are really a bunch of useful idiots to Islam, just like the ones that have these interfaith dialogues. I call them interfaith deceptions. But
Yes.
There is
we
nothing
have a
better to
problem.
call that, because I have seen it connect. I have seen, quote, interfaith, and connecting straight to Wicca and
Oh,
straight to Satanism.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
seen
I
it
think
in my community. So whether you include Islam or not, back in those days, I don't believe there were any. I don't think there was anything local that was connected that was of Islam, but yeah, there was Wiccans.
It's really been since 9/11, and especially since Obama, that it's really been being pushed. Okay.
I would include Bush in that. George W.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obama really started up.
Yeah. He
When
pressed,
Bush came out and said he should have been booed out of there. But
I would say
I'm
for
just
training.
warning. People need to be trained better, and the training isn't there because too many churches are basically becoming useful idiots to Islam.
So here's my suggestion, Sharon. You can contact people like me, probably Eric, Usama Dakdak. We're willing. Some of us are willing to just travel wherever. You could get a church that's interested. I'm on my summer vacation. Contact me. I'll travel anywhere. If someone's willing to pay my way out, I don't need anything extra pay. Just pay my way there and back. And I'll come and talk. I'll talk about teaching. How do we reach people who follow Islam? How do we share the gospel with them? What's effective? What's not? If they leave Islam and they don't feel safe, what can we do? They're excellent topics. Wow. Chrislam, yeah. XYZ. I have letters to Yale. And it's funny because you mentioned Yale. Yale is a school which my family, the history in my family says they're involved in Yale. Yale's history doesn't have my family in it, but I have written to Yale's president and challenged him to a debate, which he responded with, what was it? I refuse your invitation. One, two. That was it. I invited him to debate and stand on his own words. So who was I at that time? I was a guy who had a degree in religion and philosophy. Okay, that's my bachelor's. I had a master's in special education. All right, I had written one book that was kind of, it's my first book, and I think I had published my second book. which my father still claims is college material and every college should read it. That's his goal with it. And I asked him to debate me. I asked him to defend his claims that teaching Sharia at Yale University was a good thing. And that's how he declined my invitation. That says something about the inability of a Yale president to stand behind his own words. I kind of wrote.
Keep in mind that the universities, many of them, I'm not sure about Yale, but many of them are getting money from places like Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking in the millions.
Yeah. In fact, that's one of my, if you go to paulsutliff.blogspot.com, you will see a lot of articles on Yale in particular receiving tons of money. In fact, they received some money from members who were part of the golden chain of Al Qaeda. Yeah, it's documented. And in the discussion again there, if you look up on the right side, you can find keywords. You can look up Yale and you'll find that. So, yeah, there are a lot of universities out there who are claiming to be Christian. There are places called seminaries that are claiming to be Christian. Hartford Seminary is by no means a Christian seminary. Hartford Seminary is what I would call a Muslim Brotherhood network site. Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of, and this is I'm a guy who has been to seminary.
What's the name of that again?
Hartford Seminary.
What seminary is it?
Hartford Seminary.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at it.
Hartford Seminary out of Hartford is what I would call a Muslim Brotherhood stronghold. It is I consider it dangerous. That's how that's my statement about Hartford. Yeah. I gotta sign off pretty soon. I gotta say thank you for everybody for joining me. Again, reach out if you're interested in having someone teach others about evangelizing the followers of Islam, and you want someone to teach apologetics on the topic, which is really what I think that question asked for. How do we reach? How do we teach this topic? I'm willing to come. I have my whole summer off. So if you're looking for somebody, and there's Usama Dakdok also, and there's probably other members in here who would be interested. So God bless you all. You can contact me through.
I think David would also have some issues.
Yeah. Feel free to contact my email is berean_research@yahoo.com. God bless everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep.